Coming up next, let's invite Mr. Gambarota Lucien, founder and president of Motorwave Group, to give a speech on product innovation for wind energy. Mr. Lucien has designed, invented, and developed many consumer products. Most notably is the Motorwave technology and Motor Wind technology. He also developed the California fitness concept of harvesting human energy during workout. Let's put your hands together for Mr. Lucien.
I didn't wear a suit or a tie for the last 6-7 years. And after Mr. Lam invited me, so I decided to put on a suit. And when I tried to put my necktie, I didn't remember how to make the knot. So I have to go on YouTube and watch the tutorial, right? He came back, ultimately he came back, but really these are very simple things that we can forget. It doesn't affect our life, right? It's just we need or we don't need, right? So I've been invited to in some way to answer the question, why is there not more wind turbine installations in Hong Kong? The wind turbine installations are very easy to spot. You can see them. Right? Here in Hong Kong, you don't see basically any, right? Except that there is existing one. The first one is just for, just to show. Is in New York, on a rooftop in New York in 207. This one is in Macau, in 210. This one is in Aberdeen. You can see these three girls, they're all Miss Hong Kong in the past. They were a good friend to my wife. We provide power to a power company, CLP. You cannot see the logo because it's a reverse picture. Macau also, DSPA is an environmental bureau. That means government. It's the government of Macau. This one is one of the funniest ones. It was an expo in Xi'an, in China, and every part of China was supposed to bring their best horticultural product. So some brought trees, some brought flowers, whatever. Here in Hong Kong, we have nothing. So the Hong Kong government asked me to build a tree made out of turbine. Right? This was our contribution. There's many other. This one is a little bit special. Is an hybrid. Is a wind turbine and a solar panel. This one, City Hall in Wan Chai, just a few steps from here. Another from CLP. Chen Quan Ho. The flower at the center, they are wind turbine. You see how we can mix them to create some kind of graphics. Another school, HKU, Hong Kong HKU. These are some of the customers we work for or we work with. Right? You can see most of the biggest company. There's only one here that we didn't work for or with, is Hong Kong Electric. So he was sitting next to me on the table. so I give him my name card. I say, you must, because you're the last one. All right? You need to give a good image of Hong Kong. Not that he does not, but he can even improve the image even more. Alors, so in Hong Kong, you don't see these big ones. There is none. I mean, except the one in Lama. But has been, what, over 20 years now or something like this? 13 years, okay. It seems works pretty well. But that's the only one you can see. You don't see it like in, for Europe. In Europe, you see them everywhere. You take your car, you drive anywhere. Here in Hong Kong, not. Why is that? As you can expect, it's not technical issue. It's the damn bureaucrats. But is it a bad thing that we don't have authorization in Hong Kong to build wind farm? It's a trend. For the last 3, 4, 5 years, you can see people are more and more against wind turbine. They don't like them. They might like the energy produced, but they don't like the vision. They don't like the noise. They don't like, there's so many things they don't like. And you know, when the people don't like something, don't try to sell it. Okay? Try to sell a swimming suit to the Eskimos. You won't be as successful as Mr. Lung. Where is Mr. Lung? Yeah, yeah. And on top of that, the recycling of this giant stuff is not so good. You can recycle the pole, you can recycle part of the main body, but the blades, for example, the blade are carbon fiber. They are unrecyclable. That's why they do not even try, they bury them. All right? So if people argue with you or give you as an argument or as a point that they are recyclable, is not true, simply not true. Solar panel, try to recycle a solar panel. Except the aluminum frame, there is nothing to recycle. Anybody argue otherwise, you need to give me solid proof. I have been manufacturing solar panel and installing solar panel. There is not a single thing that you can recycle. Right? We might feel better by saying, oh, it's recyclable, whatever. It's simply not true.
In Europe, we recycle 92%.
Yeah? What do you call recycling?
100%.
Bury them? This is what you call recycling?
We recycle.
Okay, what do you do with?
Glass, aluminium.
Yeah, and that's it.
That's 90%.
By weight.
By weight.
Yeah, yeah, by weight,
That's what we're talking
not by cost.
Anyway,
All right? If no, you want to talk about recycle? No problem.
I
Okay.
can absolutely talk
You can recycle, when I say nothing, let's say 10% by cost. That's it.
Well, have you tried to recycle a coal power plant?
It's not the question. It's this environmentalists. They are telling you that it's 100% recyclable. It's not true.
Oil rig.
It's not true. All right? So forget about this. To cite Gore, the 1 president of the US, the inconvenient truth. Wherever you put a wind turbine, I mean a giant one, life stops. Life stops. Because you cannot approach, you can do nothing under a wind turbine. There's nothing you can do. No farming, no animals, nothing, no humans. Nobody lives next to a wind turbine. Life stops. Any argument? True, not true?
A lot of farmers in the Netherlands.
Yeah, under the wind turbine?
Yeah.
Under the wind turbine?
Yes.
You know, they are all in hospital now.
We have a good medical system. So
Yeah, but they're all in hospital. Really, under, life stops. Animal gets sick. You know, we have many examples, many reports. The cow, they stop making milk. Sheep or goats in Taiwan, 100 of them, they committed suicide. It was in all newspapers, right? People that live next to it, they declare kind of a sickness. They don't know how to explain it. They say, I don't feel good. I feel bad. I feel sick. I feel whatever. A property, Hong Kong very conscious on property business. A property next to a wind turbine, 70% down. Because nobody wants to live there. Right? I'm manufacturing wind turbine. But I'm talking in this way because this is what's actually happened. We have to tell the truth. The latest trend is the offshore wind turbine, right? Because say, oh, let's take some space that is free of charge, right? This is even worse, because you know the water conduct noise, vibration, even faster than air. Actually, is 1,000 times faster. So fish, try to find a fish next to an offshore wind turbine. Even the shell, they don't want to stick to it. Must be some reasons. Even the politicians, they are the worst example to name, huh? Politicians, because these guys, they will, I mean, you won't trust them with your grandmother, right? These guys, they are the worst of the worst, right? Even the politicians, they are saying, we don't want to see that. When these guys start talking like this, it must be something. PV panel is the same stuff. When you look at all the area being occupied by PV panel that become useless. Have you seen something grown under a PV panel? Yeah, what, salad?
Grass.
Grass, yeah.
They
Yeah.
raise sheep, don't
Yeah,
they?
that's about it. And why is that? Oh, it's simple, huh? There is no machine that can, no trucks, no farming machine that can go under. And they put it so low because they need to clean them from time to time. So they put them so low that all the space is wasted, right? So, okay, maybe make some people feel better, but at the end, we are just occupying space that could be used to feed the people. No, cities are shelter for people. Cities are not built anywhere. They are built where you can find water because you need to drink, you need to live, whatever, and where you are not exposed to high wind, to punishing sun, to whatever. I mean, they're protected area. Okay, so that's why people build city. So obviously, it's not the best place for renewable energy. By definition, right? Concerning wind, you build a city where there is no wind. So by definition, a city is a worse place for wind energy. Hong Kong is a city. It is only a city. We have 70% are parks, right? But the parks is not, they are not being used for renewable energy. Parks are being used to keep the property market price high, right? This is another story. Now, I have been very pleased to hear that here in Hong Kong now we have FIT. FIT is a very, very interesting because it's a way to subsidize a product that otherwise will not be accepted by the market. It's a subsidy. When you are buying at 3 times, 4 times, 5 times the price, the real price, there's something wrong. Every time you subsidize something, there's something wrong. Who is happy with that? The installer. I'm happy with that. I do installation, all right, my customer pay me. I'm happy with that. But the truth is, this is subsidy. And you know what? Subsidies, they never last. Because a subsidy can be revoked anytime. Are we in danger that it will happen? It did happen. People who live in Europe, they know, it did happen. I have a French passport, right? So I'm going to talk about France. When they started the FIT, They were buying at 6 times the price. 6 times. And they waited until all the people make the investment. And when the people made all the investment, that means installing solar panel, whatever, they start cutting down the FIT. Today in France, the FIT is even lower than the real cost. And so many people have been cheated out of that because so many people borrow money from the banks to make installation, to make farms. Okay? Because by calculation, oh, you can make money. They never expected the government will start cutting down the FIT. In Germany, the same. In Germany, if I remember, they started at 3 or 4. Now they are less than 1 or something like this. So we have experience. The FIT, it's only to lure people. Right? Do we care? Well, as long as we do installation, we get paid. I mean, we don't care. But is it reasonable? Is it the truth? No, it is not. It is not. The small micro turbine you have seen before. It used to be a payback time of about 20 years. Right? I would say a quite good installation, the payback time was about 20 years. The worst installation that we could make was 150 years. Right? In Hong Kong, there is places there is no wind. 1 meter per second, 2 meters per second. You do an installation there, oh, looks good. It just doesn't work. Payback 150 years. No joking. Now with the FIT, a good installation can have a payback of 3 to 4 years, 5 years. So it's much better. I want to be booed. I'm a climate change denier. Nobody? Oh, I'm in a good environment here. When I start talking this way, I become the Antichrist. It all started when my major is chemistry. So carbon is something that we cannot live without. Right? Carbon, oxygen, hydrogen. One of these 3 is gone, the whole world stops. Okay? It's as simple as that. So carbon is not the enemy. Carbon is our good friend. If he doesn't have carbon in his factory, you don't have power. Right? You can give him whatever you want. You don't give him carbon, nothing he can do for you. Because it's based on the system. Carbon plus oxygen, it's an release heat. That means energy. Right? And there's nothing else you can do about it. That's what it is. So people, or some people, not everybody, some people, some 15 years ago, starting using CO2 as an excuse. They say, well, CO2 is blocking the sun, is increasing the temperature, is blah, 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 blah. When you look at the carbon concentration, I mean the CO2 concentration in the atmosphere, 0.035 or 36 maybe now, right? It's nothing. It's really nothing. You change from you increase by 10%, by 20%, it won't change anything. They just forgot to check how much the solar intensity increased for the last 100 years. The only thing that they check is how much the planet temperature is growing. Yes, it's rising. Everybody can see that. Where in November, we don't need jacket. When I arrived in Hong Kong 32 years ago, in November you needed a jacket. Right? in October last month, it was still 28 degrees, 29 degrees. Right? So yes, climate is changing. But is it due to human? Nobody, I repeat, nobody ever proved it. I am a scientist, and I am a denier. And when they are telling you that all scientists agree on that, I said, the fuck no. What happened is at one point some guys, they call themselves scientists. You know, the climatology is not a science. Huh? It's same as anthropology. They are not science. They are not based on equation. It's not something you can calculate. It's not something you can reproduce. Right? So say, oh, all scientists, 5 minutes? Wow, more than enough. So they say, so yeah, yes, it started by some people start noticing that the temperature was going up. And they start wondering, oh, how come temperature is going up? And then they try to find a curve that match this increase in temperature. And they find a curve which is the industrialization of the world. Right? We started to a factory about 200 years ago, and more and more and more. So they put the two curves together and they match. So these geniuses immediately they say, wow, if the CO2 increases because we have more industries. Right? That's how it started. And now this guy, they try to scare you to death. If you listen to Democrats in the US, they are telling you that 11 years from now, everybody will be dead. They are telling you that. Okay? Senator, a Democrat senator and a representative, they are telling you that. They are telling you that in 11 years, everybody will be dead. Well, I'm telling you, I'm not scared. Because in 12 years, I'm not sure if I will be here, but if you're not here, it won't be because of the increase of the temperature. There's a... We have an expression, we say whatever is outrageous is insignificant. We have to be reasonable in everything. Can we behave in a better way for the planet? Yes. Yes. Our parents, they were doing it. Our parents, they were collecting, they were recycling, they were not buying something that is useless. Right? So we don't need to invent anything. We just need to follow what our ancestors did. All the food you can eat today is because 1,000 years ago, our ancestors started to grow them. If a tomato was bad, they would have stopped to growing them. Right? You still can find some that are dangerous, like some mushrooms or whatever. But 99% of the food, right, that we have today comes from a breeding or a growing 1,000 years ago. Right? So we have the experience of our ancestor. In some way, we just need to follow. We need to be good. But when I say we need to be good for the planet and not to the planet, because the planet does not belong to us. We're just one-time tenants. Okay? We don't own the planet. Or why would we own more than an elephant, or a tiger, or a dog, or whatever, or even a fish? We don't own the planet. So we have to be good for the planet. Right? Even if tomorrow the temperature rises by 10 degrees, 15 degrees, whatever they want to think, Okay, we might be gone, but the planet will still be here. The regulation, how the planet can regulate itself. It's a dream for any engineers. We do a lot of regulations. You know, you have a relay, you have sensor, whatever. So when this does that, then you do that, then, okay, it's regulation. The planet's regulation system is so complex that basically nobody understands it. So when the people start telling you that because of that this happened, this is BS. This is BS. There's so many parameters that we cannot put them in a machine. We can barely predict the weather in 1 week. How can we predict the climate in 200 years? Right? Doesn't sound reasonable. So I'm a denier. Right? But denier doesn't mean that I don't believe. Right? But I like to be called a denier because it pisses them off. It pisses them off because they have so much certitudes without not a single proof. You know, when you ask them, the only thing they know, 90% of the scientists, they say, they don't have a clue. They don't have a clue. Not the scientists, the people who said that. Okay? It's just like a religion. They decided to believe. It's called a religion. When you decide to believe a book, like the Bible or the Quran or whatever, it is called a religion. So they can believe in whatever they want. Okay? We give them the freedom of religion. Ecolo, whatever, right? So they have the freedom of religion. But there's one thing that we should never accept, it's called proselytism. Proselytism is trying to convince the other. They believe in whatever they want. But the first one who tries to convince me of something which is a fairy tale, he will have me in his face. Right? So I like to be called a denier. There's 1 minute left. I will leave it to my next colleague. And thank you very much for your attention.